Yeah, there we go. What is going on? My pretty babies, there you are. Coming at you live on Spreaker.com, also on YouTube.com/slash the RCWR show, also live via the RCWR show app, available for free in the Google Play Store. Just search the RCWR show. I'm Lee Sanders. You're checking out a new episode for this Tuesday night of June the 12th, 2018. My God, you talk about a crazy week going into tonight's episode. A lot has gone down since last we were on the air. And I tell you what, some of you guys, great minds think alike. Some of you guys last week were saying, Lee, I'm not too sure about the NBA Finals, dog. I think that's going to be wrapped up way before Tuesday. I'm telling you, you guys, y'all called it. I had a little tiny thing called hope. I thought for sure that Cavaliers was going to win just one, maybe two at most. But nah, but a lot has gone down since last we were on the air with you guys. We're going to get into all of that craziness. As always, love hearing from you guys as I'm going to be live for the next little bit. You can interact with me a couple of ways. I just mentioned we got YouTube, we got Spreaker, we got the RCWR show app in the Google Play Store, also streaming live on Facebook. Shout out to our Facebook audience. Our Facebook audience, we haven't been connecting up with them for these streams in the past couple of weeks. And it just got to the point I'm actually trying something new out with these guys. So my girl was really impressed with the video quality that she had saw when I had streamed our UFC reactions to the CM Punk fight, which, by the way, I do appreciate you guys that went out of your way to check that out. I did come on late Saturday night going into early Sunday morning just to talk about the CM Punk Mike Jackson fight from UFC 225. And I pretty much was in and out. I was on here for like about 25 minutes and then I was done. And then shortly after that, I had posted a clip of what Dana White, UFC president, had to say about the CM Punk fight. What's the future of Punk? What's the future of Mike Jackson? And good people, a lot of people had came on out, checked it out. Definitely shout out to my good friend over at Epic Sports. And we just had something drop live on the air, and I'm still rolling over here, man. You just got to keep it going. It's almost kind of like you hear a gunshot, bam, you just keep on going. But no, what I was saying was we had UFC president Dana White who had offered some thoughts on what all had came about with CM Punk, Mike Jackson, talked about what's going to be happening as far as their future goes and everything. And so all that was really fun. Yeah, but I'd say a lot has gone down. A lot has gone down. I don't even know where to begin, but we're going to find our way through all of this craziness that's coming about. Now, I want to push this out in the open right now because we have a really cool sponsor. I mean, all of our sponsors are really cool that we get to collaborate with on a week-to-week basis, on a monthly basis. All of our sponsors are really awesome. But there's one sponsor in particular, and I made this promise to them that we would do our best to promote them. And I told them we're going to push you guys out in the first 5 minutes of the show. And I definitely want to give them a lot of love. And the timing of this is really good considering we've got the whole expo that's happening right now. You know, the 2018 E3 Expo that's going down. That's where all the games, everything combined, everything, that's where everything happens, right? So we have this really cool sponsor that reached out to me, I would say around the weekend. And they said, hey, look, Lee, your audience seems like they'd be the right market to pitch for this. Can you see what you can do? We'd like to get a lot of guys involved in this because we want to know what they think about this product. And if it's really on point, then, you know, honestly, we've tested it ourselves. We think it's pretty good, but we want to get a lot more hands on this product as humanly possible. Can you help us out? I say, yeah, sure. What the hell? And it ties into gaming. So for those of you that are gamers, and in particular, you love playing games on your smartphone, right? I've got a really cool thing I want you guys to check out. And it is from my good friends over at Lux Storm, kind of like you're saying luxury, but Lux Storm. That's Luxe as in Edward Storm. LuxStorm.com. And what they have really cool is a smartphone joystick. Now, this smartphone joystick, it has L1 and R1 smartphone gaming triggers. So you just basically kind of clip this on to your phone and you're able to play your games. You know, it's almost kind of like you've got yourself a little personal D-pad, right? Now, before you guys go, oh, wait a minute. No, this is actually a really, really good deal because they did something really cool. And this is only for RCWR Nation. If you use the unique URL, which you can find in the episode description of this very episode you're checking out right now, you'll not only find the landing page that'll take you over there to the landing page for, you know, you getting a hold of these L1, R1 smartphone gaming triggers, right? But there is a special discount code that you guys can use. This is just for RCWR Nation. All you got to use is the discount code RCWR Games. That's RCWR Games. You get 100% off plus shipping. I repeat, if you use the discount code RCWR Games, you get 100% off plus shipping. So jump out there, check it out. And I see a comment coming in on Facebook right now. I bet you the comment is no. Okay, good. Facebook, can you guys do me a huge favor? If you guys that's checking me out live right now, if you can hear me, post a comment down below. If you can't hear me, then I would think you're gonna say something either way to let me know if you're able to hear me or not, because we're trying a new setup over here tonight. But yeah, use that code and don't thank me. Honestly, you can thank them. And they told me straight up, they say, look, if we have a really good turnout of people that come and check this out, check out this product, you know, we're definitely going to be coming back and we'll see if we can do some more business. So jump right to it. Again, check out the episode description of this very episode you're checking out right now. You'll be taken to the direct landing page so you can order your L1, R1 smartphone gaming triggers. 100% off plus shipping. You can't beat that. Brought to you by our good friends over at Lux Storm. That's Luxe Storm, like the X-Men Storm. LuxStorm.com. And you can follow them on Instagram at MyLuxStorm for more awesome products and cool goodies. Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's nice when we're able to get something that really meets our core audience. Yeah, I personally think so. I think it's awesome that we have that set up. So we were talking about CM Punk just a little bit ago, right? Actually, I want to tease you guys a little bit longer. Crazy week that we had last week going into now, right? For the simple fact that we had the Stanley Cup finals that went down. And I got to give it up to, because I'm over here in the DMV, I got to give it up to the Washington Capitals. They got it done. Didn't think it was possible, but my God, they did it. And it has just been pandemonium over here ever since the Capitals won. It has been apeshit crazy over here. And I got to put this message out on Facebook, and you guys are going to have my undivided attention because I'm under the impression people on Facebook cannot hear me right now. I'll just say, can you guys hear? And we'll keep it short and simple. And then you pretty much will have my undivided attention for the rest of the stream. Okay. So, ape shit. Ever since the Capitals had won, I am telling you, the parade was today. And I am not exaggerating. We had more people that showed up for this Capitals parade. And I'm not, don't get my words twisted now. I am not picking on our president nor his administration, but just an observation of the many, many live footage, images I've seen from the parade today. There were more people that showed up in the nation's capital for this Capitals parade than at Trump's inauguration. I BS you not. It was almost just like that when the Caps won, because remember, the Caps had won the Stanley Cup out in Vegas. And when you went to what was going down in DC, I actually stayed up to watch the news, and the streets in DC were just flooded. I mean, flooded big time. Okay. I would say, if not almost close to inauguration day, about half of the crowd had showed up. Okay. But it was really, really, really difficult getting to and from work today. Definitely getting to work, because I get my I get my bus, I get my train at the usual times. And usually my day begins by catching the bus so I can get to the train stop. Everything's going nice and smooth. I'm going, all right. Feeling all good. I've got my Fleetwood Mac playing in my ears. And I'm just whistling and shit, right? Dreams, my most favorite track from Fleetwood Mac. Walk down the steps. I'm getting ready to enter the tunnel so I can go catch the train. And the next thing I know, massive seas of white people. And before anybody goes, Lee, you're racist. My soon-to-be wife is white. So yeah, not nice try, but no. But it was insane. It was fucking insane. I've never seen so many. Let me put it to you this way: there were so many white people in red. It wasn't even funny. And I was paranoid as hell. I was about to turn my ass right back around. And then all of a sudden, I said, well, I'm already knee deep in red now. I might as well push on through. And I had got a little bit of anxiety, and it was just kind of, I was a little bit flabbergasted. And I just went on ahead. I said, okay, fuck this. Just focus on one thing. And I just kept focusing on my music, since that's what I had in my ears. I was like, come on, Fleetwood, get me to work, man. I was like, I'm paranoid here. It's like, yeah, because that's just me. I don't know how it is for some of you guys, but if I'm surrounded by a boatload of people, in this case, like what I just described, I get just anxious. I get anxiety. I get real nervous. I've been like that for years. I mean, I'm finally starting to get better at it if I can just focus on one thing. So thank God I had my music and I was able to get to work. And so many of my colleagues, they had complained today. They were like, the goddamn parade. It's like, but on a funny note, and I had my supervisor busting up laughing. She's white and she's also Greek, and she's a hardcore Republican, hardcore Trump fan. I told her, I said, man, it's like there's so many white people I ran into today on the way to work. She goes, oh yeah. I said, yeah. It's like, it was ridiculous. It's safe to say that all the white people took off from work today. And she started busting up laughing. She goes, well, I'm here. I say, yeah, but you're more of an immigrant because you're kind of Greek, you know? And I told her, I said, can you just imagine if our president finally realizes and like flips his fucking lid that all the white people left work today to come to the parade, and as a result of that, all the foreigners and all the other races are in charge? And she's like, well, that would be a good thing, right? I said, of course. I said, depending on how you want to look at it, but just having a little bit of tongue-in-cheek humor right there. But crazy today, crazy. I look here in the DMV, stuff like this doesn't happen. And in the case of the Capitals, it's never happened before. It's the first time. I just hope that this good luck finally trickles on down and rubs off on the other teams that we got out here, because the other teams, they keep coming so close, but no cigar. So Washington Redskins, Washington, whatever you're going to be calling yourselves, if you decide you want to change your name, which I think is complete bull. All right, we're watching you now. We're watching you, Baltimore Ravens. We're watching you, DC United. We're watching you, Washington Mystics. So hopefully it rubs off on everybody else. So we had that craziness go down. Last we were on the air, we were talking about what? I think game 3 or 4 of the NBA Finals. And a lot of you guys said last Tuesday, Lee, I don't think we're still going to be talking about this series come the following Tuesday. This is probably going to be over during the weekend. And sure enough, it was over. Now, look, I'm not going to go all 20 minutes into this with regards to the NBA Finals, but let me say this. We're going to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to give you my thoughts about the NBA Finals, and then we're going to talk a little bit about LeBron James. With regards to the NBA Finals, it's literally what I had said when the Warriors had won. I mean, first off, to look at the Warriors and them three-peating, they three-peat. There is only but, and you can count them off one hand, of teams that have been able to accomplish such a feature. All right. You definitely got to go with Kobe's Lakers. And then you got to go back to the old days. I think when it was the Milwaukee Lakers. Memory's a little rusty right now. I'm not an old school NBA historian like some folks, but you guys know the previous Lakers team that I'm talking about, right? You got to go to that period. You also got to think about Michael Jordan, the three-peats that he was able to do, right? So only a handful of teams. I know there's one other team I'm probably missing in there, but there's only but a handful of teams that were able to do this. And for the Golden State Warriors to now be a part of that elite list, you just got to take your hats off to them. I mean, is it jam-studded pack over there? Fuck yeah. I mean, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, my God, Draymond Green. I mean, they got all kinds of hands over there. They can just come at you and counter any type of ways for sure. In all the years that I have been watching the NBA, one of the most deadliest teams when it comes to the freaking when it comes to the freaking three-point shooting. They are one of the most deadliest teams out there. I mean, they just make those three-point shoots. They make those shots look easy. They make it look like two-pointers, right? Oh, this ain't nothing. I mean, that damn thing comes from all the way New York City, all the way to Golden State into the hoop. I mean, they just make it look flawless, right? Crazy. But, I mean, they are able to three-peat, and this is going to be a team that's going to be dominating for, I would assume, at least the next 3 to 4 years. These guys are right at their prime right now. Some of these guys are still locked in for a really good contract for the next couple of years. You don't really have to worry about cap space, trying to shuffle a couple of things around. You're good for the next couple of years. Really had helped that Kevin Durant had took that discount when he came on over to Golden State, because he pretty much had said, hey, look, whatever you got to do, use this free money here that you're not going to be giving me and get the help that we need so that we can get this done. Let's make it happen already. So, I mean, it is just wow. I don't know. We got a lot of people that's ragging on, oh man, this was a boring NBA season. Oh man, those guys repeated again. You know, look, like I said last week, and I'm going to say it again. You know what this series reminded me of? Just the fact that the Cavs and Golden State kept going at it. You know what it reminded me a lot of? It reminded me a lot of the Lakers, Boston. It reminded me a lot of that series. And, you know, for me personally, I'm enjoying these moments because I know that moments like this, the way it's been kind of going down, it happens only every 15, 20 years. So I'm going to be enjoying these times for what it's worth, because a lot of true NBA fans, a lot of true NBA historians, they're going to be looking at that. And shout out to Mark in the chat, Minneapolis. I knew it started with an M. I just wasn't sure. Minneapolis Lakers. Thank you for that. Of the elite teams that did the three-peat from earlier. So, you know, I look at this and I'm saying we're going to be talking about this 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Our kids that go on to have their kids. So then we're grandparents. They're going to be talking about this still years down the road. I'm enjoying these times right now, because now the big question that is put out there is who is going to be able to step up to the plate and who is going to be able to knock off the mighty Golden State Warriors. And even Draymond Green, and I got to give him a lot of props, because he went on record during the post-game show. I was watching NBA TV and I was looking at the post-game, and he talked with Charles Barkley and them, and they basically said, hey, do you personally feel that if it wasn't for last year, if it wasn't for that foul that had went down or rather a couple of years ago. It's like, that foul that went down and you had missed a game as a result. Do you feel as though this would have been a four-peat? And Draymond said, "Oh yeah, without a shadow of doubt, this would have been a four-peat for sure." It's like, for sure, I admit that. It would have been an entirely different series. We'd be a four-time champion right now, a first. And you're going, wow, okay, all right, cool, a first, all right. So for me, now the question becomes, what teams are going to step up? I like what's going on in Boston. I like what's going on with the Spurs. I like what's going on with the Houston Rockets. I definitely like what's going on with my Washington Wizards. I must say, as far as a pleasant surprise, they surprised me. All these teams that I'm mentioning, they are definitely one, two, maybe even three pieces away from advancing further into the NBA playoffs, if not getting to the NBA finals. But then the $1 million question, and look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I think this series for the NBA finals would have been more of a fight if LeBron James did not clock out the way that he clocked out at game one. I go back to that. I've always, when I worked in security for off and on, I've worked security for 15 years. I respect the hell out of those that go into that field because of the fact you're sacrificing, and I don't want to hear people say, oh, well, no, security, it's much different than your typical 9 to 5 job, because with security, you typically work all the major holidays. And the only way you are off on that major holiday is if you're able to find somebody to work your shift. Otherwise, you have to work all your shifts. All right. And then on top of all of that, you are protecting the people that are frequenting that establishment in which you're providing security coverage. Okay. You're constantly dealing with the weather. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, you're constantly dealing with the elements, right? And the risk that goes into it, especially if it's a situation where you're working at a mall, you're working somewhere where public has open access to it, right? So there's a lot of risk that go into it, and you sacrifice a lot of time away from family. It's really hard to be able to, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to, when it could be a situation where you have a rotating schedule. You, for the most part, when you're in security, you always have to leave yourself open, because you never know when something goes down, and as a result of that going down, they're going to need to rely on you to come on in at last minute or whatever. You pretty much got to stop what you're doing and you got to help out, right? So I respect the hell out of the guys that do that. But when I look at a situation, I just got a brain fart live on the air, because somehow I was linking that to LeBron. And I know I had said something along the lines of, I have a lot of respect for, LeBron James, but my biggest gripe, he clocked out of the series. He clocked out after game one. Just the way that he acted, his body language. It's like you're going into overtime. You're fucking going into overtime. Like everything is 0-0. You got a new set of down, right? It's a new down. Go out there, fucking get the job done. And LeBron did not do like a true leader of a team would do. He did not do like a Ray Lewis. He did not do like a Kobe Bryant. He did not do like a Michael Jordan and pull the team to the side and say, okay, look, this is the situation. Don't trip. We've got this. We are even. We've got timeouts. This is a new set of minutes. Let's get out there. We had these guys on the ropes. They are beatable. Stay focused. Let's do it. If I defer to you, I trust that you're going to be able to make your shots. And we didn't see any of that come from LeBron. And it just made me lose a lot of respect from him, the way he was just sitting at the bench, pouting and all that other stupid, silly little shit. I just said, what the hell? So after that, it just kind of seemed as though once LeBron shut down, the team had shut down. And they pretty much were not really able to recover after that. That's how it looked in my eyes. Now, some people may counter and say, but Lee, this person had made, this for the Cavs and this, it felt more isolated. It really did not feel like a cohesive unit that we had saw from the Cavs this season. And if you were to ask me, Lee, well, what's next for LeBron? Where do you think LeBron is going to go? I would say to you, there's a couple of options. Spurs looks very appealing. Spurs looks very, very appealing. A lot of people keep throwing Boston out there. I think Boston would depend on two things. Number one, would Kyrie be willing to work with LeBron? And hey, Boston has some cap space issues as well. So they're going to have to free some stuff up if they want LeBron. All right. So they got to figure out what exactly they want to do with Kyrie Irving, because they also, during the offseason, they could trade him. They could do whatever. So it's very sticky over there. If you do keep Kyrie, are you going to keep him? And is Kyrie going to be able to work with LeBron this go round? So there's a lot of elements you're looking at there, and you kind of gotta, it's kind of tricky. That's a delicate situation. People are saying Los Angeles Lakers. Look, the only way I see Los Angeles Lakers happening is if maybe you're able to get Kevin Durant away from the Golden State Warriors, and you're able to bring in LeBron James. That would be a great 1-2 punch, maybe, but highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Lakers is still, see, this would literally be, for me, LeBron to go to the Lakers, it would just basically be kind of like Kobe carrying the team in his last couple of years. No, no, that's not going to work. It just really feels as though, with LeBron James being now 3-6 with regards to the NBA Finals, it just seems to me, just the vibe I've been getting over the years, LeBron cares about competition. LeBron cares about winning. LeBron cares about winning championships, not a championship, championships, plural. And I just have the feeling that LeBron wants to go play for a team that is maybe 1 or 2 pieces away from not only advancing further into the NBA playoffs, but going to the finals. So for me, the best 2 options or 3 options I could see, okay, this could go down. For me, Spurs at the very top. My God, can you imagine Greg Popovich coaching LeBron James? LeBron would have so much respect for Popovich that without a shadow of doubt, he would just, I just feel that he would just allow himself to be putty in Popovich's hands and say, okay, take me to that next level. Okay. So for me, that seems more realistic. Houston Rockets. I definitely feel Houston Rockets, they would have to maybe do a couple of things, make a couple of moves, but I think that Houston Rockets is a good destination as well. Boston as well, but again, the Kyrie Irving thing. It's all about that Kyrie Irving thing, right? But I'm taking Lakers out of the equation. All that drama that's going on with the Ball family, I don't think LeBron really wants to be surrounded with all of that. I really don't. I like somebody said Raptors as well. Toronto Raptors would be a good option as well. But those are the teams I'm really looking at if LeBron's going to be going anywhere. But I just hope that when he does make the decision, it's not going to be a situation where he's going to do like a couple of years ago and he had fucking Jim Gray and it was it was what was it? The Decision, and they did like this hour-long drawn out. I hope we don't get that again. Just do what you got to do. Look, we know that in this stage of LeBron's career, if he's gonna jump to another team, this is it, because he can't keep relocating the family. It's well documented that the wife feels a certain way, right? He's got kids. He's got a young girl. I think she's around 11 now, but he's got a son that is getting ready to play some high school basketball. So his career looks to be pretty promising. You don't really want to be moving the kids around too much like that. So without a shadow of doubt, he's definitely going to do what's right for his family and then move on from there. But those are the teams I'm eyeballing where LeBron could possibly end up. But for those of you that's saying, well, what about Cavs, Lee? Why not just finish it out in Cleveland? No, I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it in Cleveland because I feel that this is LeBron's kryptonite. LeBron has gotten owned by the Golden State Warriors, and I just feel at this point with the Cavs, with that current lineup, LeBron is not going to be able to do it. Now, if it was a situation with regards to the NBA lottery draft, if Cleveland had ranked a little bit higher, that may have made LeBron stick around, but I'm just not seeing that. I don't believe he's going to be sticking around. So we'll see what happens. But my number one, Spurs. That would be great. That would be great. So we had the NBA Finals go down. We also had CM Punk performing at UFC 225. We have not seen this guy since his last fight, which was at that point 638 days ago. Getting in the training, taking on Mike Jackson. I don't know if you guys have been following the show page, and if you're not, you really should, because in between the shows, I like interacting with a lot of people. It's the Facebook page over at the RCWR show, facebook.com/the RCWR show. Lots and lots and lots and lots of interactions with regards to CM Punk losing this past weekend. Also, a lot of reactions from our Epic Sports community. Now, I don't want to repeat a lot of what I had said with regards to the fight. If you didn't see that, I would say check that out, and then you can come on back here. But afterthoughts, as far as that fight goes, I know that we have some people that, and I'm going to knock out a couple of birds with one stone here. So we have some people that are sick and fucking tired of hearing about, oh, CM Punk, why should he get respect? Why should he get respect? Why shouldn't the MMA fighters that went in there and they busted their ass and they did what they needed to do? Why aren't we giving them the respect that they deserve? They work just as hard as CM Punk. Man, what the hell is up with people saying, "Oh, CM Punk has my respect"? Oh, that takes a lot of balls. Get the F out of here. We have a lot of people that are talking like that. And the way that I categorize these people that are talking about this, I categorize them in a couple of categories. I categorize them in one where they just hate CM Punk for turning his back on professional wrestling, period. WWE, professional wrestling, whatever you want to call it, just pro wrestling, period. There's that group. Then you have the other group that legitimately despise CM Punk. They despise CM Punk for using his connections to put himself in the position that he was able to get in, not once, but twice, knowing damn well that if it was them in a position where they had the connections and they could make a couple of fights happening, right? They could make a couple of fights happen using their connections. They would use them. Tell me you would not. Seriously, I mean, just really stop. You know how silly that sounds for, oh, well, he got the position that he was able to get because he used his connections. Your point. Like seriously, your point. From time to time, everybody does it. You don't just have to be of celebrity status. You could have a really good track record at work and you never call out. You never no call, no show. You stay as long as the work is, as long as it's needed until the work is done. All right? Chip off the old block. Everybody loves you. Everybody respects you. Anytime you need to take a day or two off here and there, you're cool. You got so much stroke, you can just have one of your friends, hey, mention my name, you'll get hired. Trust me, I got cachet like that. So this whole crap about, oh, well, he used his connections because that's the only way he was able to get where he was able to get. Your point. Because if that was anybody else, if that was any one of us, and we had Dana White on speed dial, hey Dana, I'm looking to pull off a nice little publicity stunt. I kind of want to make a couple of movies. You think you can help me out, brother? We would do it. Bellator, Strike, whoever, we would do it. So let's Pride, whoever, we would do it. So let's stop bullshitting around with that, straight up. So you have a legit section of people that just legitimately hate CM Punk. And then you have the third category, which is you have people that just legitimately don't understand why this man, and I'm going to take it a step further. I'm only echoing some of the comments that have come in about CM Punk, and I'm keeping it real, okay? We have some people that go, this guy, look at him. Look at fucking A, look at him. He's not athletic looking. He's not muscular looking. He don't have no six-pack abs. He's not an athlete. He was doing some fake fighting shit for so many years. Why should we give him props? Get out of here. He's a freaking laughing joke. Why should I give him my respect? Why should I even say that took balls? They legitimately don't understand why people are saying, hey, have respect for this guy. That takes a lot of balls to do. So, enter me. Now, for every single body, it is different. If you ask me straight up as a man, Lee, why do you respect CM Punk for going out there not once but twice, getting his ass handed to him? Why would you maybe, Lee, say that just in general, not regards to CM Punk having balls, just saying in general, takes balls to do stuff like that? Let me share with you all a story. This is legit. And maybe one of these days we can actually have my friend on the show, Marcus. And shout out to Marcus. Occasionally, him and his lovely wife, they check out the show. So shout out to Marcus. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Marcus, at the age of 48, diagnosed with type 2 diabetes for a couple of years, not doing a good job with his vitamin regimen, his, taking his diabetes medication, dieting, staying on top of his health, all that. He decides at age 48, he wants to go into boxing. I BS you not. He just all of a sudden you're thinking, are you having, and he's not having a midlife crisis. Beautiful wife, beautiful kids, great 9-to-5 job, making good money, has his own home, living the American dream that everybody else fights so hard for in this country, regardless of your civilian status, right? Immigrant or not, regardless. Okay? And he decides at age 48, I want to try my hand in boxing. And we all are going, what the fuck, dude? You're 48. You're just now. Have you ever done boxing before? No. Have you ever trained? No. Were you even an athlete before? Not really, no. And you want to go into boxing. And a lot of us were just going, What the hell is he thinking?" I know for sure. I had many conversations with my girl going, "What the hell is he thinking? That makes no sense. Does he realize how late he's starting? Was he trying to do just one fight? Is he trying to do a series of fights? Is he trying to be a part-time fighter? What's going on here?" So he goes to the doctor, and the doctor is going, "Hey, look, because of what's going on with your diabetes, because of where you are at right now with your health, I can't really recommend you go into this field, man. Like, you would have to do a complete 180 before I can even give you the green light to do this. I would advise you not to do it." But Marcus is like, "No, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. I got this itch. I want to do it." And so the doctor says, "Okay, look, if you're going to do this, then you've got to stick to your medicine. You've got to stick to a strict diet. You got to make sure you're staying on top of yourself." All right. So he half assed with the training, all that other stuff. You fast forward, he gets to the fight. He gets his ass whooped. Gets his ass whooped. Afterwards, he says, "Okay, hey, I did it. I don't want to do it again. Now I know what it's all about. I kind of wish maybe I had got into this a lot earlier when I was much younger. But you know what? After doing this, I got a newfound respect. I have newfound respect. I have newfound appreciation for what these men and women go through now that I have been through it myself. And, it's definitely not for me. But because, of course, one of the other things that was really, really concerning for us was, does he have a glass jaw? Right? Are we going to look at him like Carl Weathers and freaking Rocky Four? Is he going to get his head knocked off his damn shoulders? I mean, we're like just thinking all kinds of crazy crap. But luckily, after the fight was over, he got his ass beat, but he didn't get knocked out. On the good note, he didn't get knocked out, but he got his ass beat. So there are situations where you can come away and you can say, I always kind of wanted to try this, but I, you know, whether family, other obligations, financially or whatnot, or just where you are in your life at that moment, or maybe you're just downright scared. You don't think outside the box. You don't go out of that comfort zone and test the waters. You don't test the waters. And it's a situation where you're going into your late 40s, 50s, and up, and you go, "Oh, I always had wanted to start a band when I was younger, but yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda." That's the line in general. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Okay. You know what CM Punk, his story reminds me of? It reminds me of the actor Mickey Rourke. And anybody that have followed the career of Mickey Rourke can back me up on this. Mickey Rourke was a bona fide pretty boy actor that had a decent movie roles that was coming his way. But then all of a sudden he decides, "I want to try my hand in boxing." Now he was a bad boy. He dipped into the drugs, all of that good stuff. But he decided, "Hey, I want to go into boxing. I want to try this out." And people treated him like he was a crackhead. Let me tell you, they're going, "What are you thinking? Why are you doing this? Why are you going into boxing? What the hell?" And Mickey Rourke's like, "Hey, this is something that I kind of always wanted to do. I always wanted to go into boxing. And, why not?" And people thought it was the stupidest thing that he did. They thought he was a joke. They kept, "Oh, he's going to get his ass beat, whatever." And he was in a lot of bloody fights. I mean, his face got messed up real good as a result of all the fights that he was in. But you know what? Even after his first fight and he got his ass beat, he could have tucked his tail in between his legs and said, okay, I tried that. I did that, done that. On to the next thing. Let me go to my plastic surgeon. Let me get my nose fixed. Keep it moving along. He decided to continue to fight. And he actually ended up becoming a pretty decent fighter. Believe it or not, go online, check out some of his stuff. He was actually a pretty decent fighter. So when you have this, I've always lived by an old saying, which is if you have any dreams, if you have any aspirations, if there's something that you've always wanted to do, but you could never find the courage to go and do it, somewhere you have to find that motivation and inspiration in digging down deep within yourself to make it happen. In general, life is all about risk. And if you don't take those risks, you don't know what you're capable of. Right? I mean, you hear people say, "Oh, I always wanted to be in a band." It's like, well, what stopped you? What stopped you from taking a little bit of money, going to Guitar Center every single week, learning how to play, and then eventually putting an ad in the newspaper saying you're looking for a cover band or you're looking to start your own band and you perform at your house or somebody's house, you get your shit down. And then once you fine tune it, you get everything on point. You try to go see if you could play at a few outdoor public events. Maybe eventually you get the attention of a booker who decides they want to book you for a little small club in the city or whatever. And who knows, maybe eventually that leads to a record deal. Who knows? You don't know unless you take the risk. Hey, you've always wanted to go into business for yourself? You always had the dreams and aspirations of opening up your own, I don't know, restaurant or whatever. Well, you don't really know what you're capable of unless you really put your mind to it and you seek it all the way through. Regardless, if you fail or succeed, at least you can say, hey, I did that. Life is supposed to be no regrets. I did everything my heart set out to do, and then some. I'm fucking content. That's it. So when I look at a guy like CM Punk, and I had shared this with one other person online. I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't compute. I don't get it. I was talking about the whole anxiety thing earlier. I remember a couple of years ago, and me and the missus, we always were talking about it. I said, it would be really great to take the show on the road. I want to start taking the show out on the road, cover some special events, maybe interact with people. I want to do a lot more for the show, brand awareness. And she said, yeah, but your anxiety, your phobia when you're around massive amounts of people, how are you going to be able to overcome that? I said, I don't really know. And she said, well, until you're able to curb stomp that, y- your work, your dreams, it's always going to be hindered. And if there's one thing I had took away from the first CM Punk fight, it was all right, no matter what, win, lose, or draw, see it through. And at that moment, I actually had said to myself after watching his first fight, I actually had said, you know what? Damn if I do, damn if I don't. I gotta learn how to do this. I gotta figure out how to master this, but I gotta do this. I want to take the show on the road. I want for my product to be more successful. I want to be able to interact with more people. I want to really start doing like some of my colleagues, and they're able to interview people and all that on the spot. Like, I want to go to that next level. And somehow I was able to do that. and I don't know if I kind of trace everything back to CM Punk because it kind of like had this light bulb just over my head, just kind of go for it. All or nothing at all. One of my favorite songs from Frank Sinatra. And for me, it's like, okay, you're either all or nothing at all. Come on. It's like you either going all in or nothing. And I think when you look at some guys like a Punk, and let's be clear. Let's be clear. The same wrestling fans that want for CM Punk to get back into professional wrestling, in particular, the same fans that want for CM Punk to get back into the WWE. Mind you, this is the same company that fired CM Punk the day that he was getting married. Yeah, FedExed his ass and said he was fired. The same WWE that financially had backed up Dr. Aman or Amen, whichever one you want to go with, the same company that backed up this doctor, financed him in his lawsuit against CM Punk and Colt Cabana. So let me see. In what universe does this make sense for CM Punk to come crawling back to a company that kicked him in the ass not once, but twice? Mind you, the way that they kept holding off the proceedings, WWE, convenient that the second go around, they tried to F him in the behind again as it went down during the week of his UFC fight. And you want him to come back to that company. That doesn't make any sense. Now, if you say, hey, I want him to come back to pro wrestling, let me tell you something. There comes a point, and I'm sure CM Punk would agree to this. There comes a point where your hobby, which is your passion and your drive, it is what you grew up on and it is what you love doing. There comes a point in time for most people where you get sick and tired of it and you want to go do something else. You want to go find another hobby. You want to go find another passion. You want to go see what else you're good at. When I connect personal stories or I bring up my life story or whatever like that, I'm not comparing myself to be at the same level of that celebrity. Understand that. Whenever I make an analogy or I connect something personal from my life to the topic that's at hand, I'm trying to help those of you get better clarity. Okay? So, me, for instance, I went to the prestigious Duke Ellington School of the Arts. I went to college, draw, paint. I mean, I practically came out of my mother's womb, paintbrush and pencil in hand, a very gifted artist. Okay. And it felt like for so many years, I was living out a person's dream, not my dream, mind you. I felt as though I was living somebody else's dream out. And in this case, it was my mom because my mom was the established artist in the family. She would draw all types of cool stuff on the walls and got to a point where she had the opportunity out in Chicago. She had the opportunity to go to the Walt Disney School. But for whatever reason, my grandmother wasn't going to allow her. For whatever reason. And I don't know if it was a situation where because my mom failed and eventually what she was trying to do in her life, if it was a situation where, well, my kid is going to succeed where I failed. Now, for the first handful of years, I felt as though, hey, look, I'm able. But as I got older, I started to remember how my mom would have me for hours and hours and hours, force me to draw stuff because she saw that there was some type of talent. Even when I didn't really feel like drawing, do it anyway. And it got to the point where I didn't want to go to Duke Ellington. I didn't want to go to that school, but I had her and the teachers. No, you have to go because you have this skill. And it's like, okay, whatever you guys want, sure. Whatever you want. And eventually it got to a situation where I fell out of love with being an artist. So much so that I did not pick up a pencil, I did not pick up a paintbrush for almost 10 years. 10 years. Surprised the hell out of my friends. My friends who I love tremendously. They're fucking family. I treat them like brother and sister. You're done drawing? I say, yeah. Get the fuck no. Once an artist, always an artist. Like, there's no such thing as retire. It's like, dude, it's been 10 years. I haven't drawn anything. What? I can't tell you how many projects I've turned down. Good money projects. Hey, I saw your portfolio. I'm retired. You wouldn't entertain coming out of retirement for just, this one special project? Shot down many opportunities to work on murals, all types of work in the city. That's how good my work is. 10 years I went on hiatus because I fell out of love with it. I would imagine that what went down with Punk and the WWE, not just with WWE, but in general, it made him fall out of love with professional wrestling. So what are you supposed to do when you fall out of love with something that is the only thing that you've known your entire life? And you feel as though, you know what? I've reached a limit with this. I've gone as far as I possibly can with this. At this point, I'm just disgusted with this right now. What are you supposed to do? What, are you supposed to suck it up because there's people that appreciate that work that you do? You're supposed to keep smiling for when you're miserable? No. You go, you test out the waters, you see what else you're good at. That's the bottom line. That's called life. And you shouldn't have to have a guy like CM Punk remind you that life is all about taking fucking risk. But when you're in a situation where you see a guy like him and you understand his upbringing, you understand his background, and you go, wow, what happened with this guy? Why did this guy fall out of love with the WWE? Why did he fall out of love with wrestling? And then when you understand why, you can't help but go, well, damn, whatever makes you happy, man, go chase it. Any one of us would do that. And, like I said to some people in the forums, those of you that are 25 and younger, I don't expect you to understand that because I was 25 once, and, for me, it felt like me against the world. I felt like an immortal, that type of stuff was the last thing on my mind. 25, I'm thinking about smashing girls and getting paid. That's all I'm thinking about. And hitting the bars. That's all I'm thinking about at 25. Okay, so, this bullshit about, oh, well, I don't understand. That's where some people are coming from when they say they have a lot of respect for what CM Punk was able to do. Now, let's take it a step further. Are there other people that have taken the same path that maybe a CM Punk took? For sure, without a shadow of doubt. Without a shadow of doubt. But you know why CM Punk gets so much press? Because of his celebrity status. That's the thing. That's what a lot of you guys are missing. That's the whole damn point. It is because of the celebrity status. But if you take away the celebrity status, is he an average Joe? Yes. But still a very good story you can take away and apply to your own everyday life. Okay? Now, for me, eventually, I had to rediscover why I loved being an artist. I had to rediscover what it was that lured me to it initially. I had to do a lot of soul searching. And eventually I got back into drawing again. Now, if you go on the Facebook page, you can actually see some of my return pieces. Right now, I'm kind of doing like a little wrestler series. I'm starting off showing you how I'm going about drawing Triple H. There's like 3 videos that's up on the Facebook page right now. You can check it out. And when you see it, you go, wow, Lee. First thing you're going to say, Lee, wow, that's really talented. Like, I can't believe you disappeared for 10 years, but I get it, man. You sometimes you fall out of love with what's once your passion, your hobby, and you got to go find yourself again, you know? So that's my bottom line with regards to that. Now, make no mistake about it. He got that ass beat. I can say to him, hey, from an inspirational standpoint, from a life standpoint, life coaching and morale, all that, I can give him all of those props, all of those. But at the end of the day, he got his ass beat. Okay? Let's talk about this ass beating that he had took. I said it on the UFC after show covering his fight, and I'll say it again. What I saw of a CM Punk at this past UFC's 225 was a CM Punk who his stand-up game was on point. It was decent. At least in the first round, he was going almost toe-to-toe with Mike Jackson. But then what happened? He started to get gassed out. Mike Jackson came in with a really good hit on CM Punk before the end of the first round. It was almost kind of like both men were really filling each other out, more so Jackson than Punk. It felt as though Punk was more reactionary. Okay, you come at me, you show me kind of what you're going to do, and I'm just going to kind of react. No, there were some moments where he seemed a little bit aggressive. I'll definitely give him that, but he did get gassed out pretty quick. Second round, we pretty much know what had happened. we pretty much know what happened. Second round on. By now, everybody has seen the footage, read about how the match came about. We don't need to rehash it here. If you missed it, I recapped it. It's on the YouTube channel. I think we even made that available as a download. As a matter of fact, we did. That's an audio download as well. You can check it out after this episode. You know what? I can respect a man like a CM Punk or anybody else for that matter that decides I want to go into the UFC. I want to go into mixed martial arts. I want to see I don't want to see if I got what it takes to be a fighter. Let me tell you something. What I saw of CM Punk, I'm giving it right between the eyes. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I am not here to be on the popular side. That's not what I'm about. I never have been. My motto has always been since 2011, keeping it honest, keeping it insightful, keeping it interactive. And in cold, hard honesty right now, CM Punk is not an athlete. UFC, as long as I have been watching it, it is for the elites. Always has been, always will be. You don't think I get why the CM Punk Mike Jackson match was moved to the actual pay-per-view when it was more deserving so of being part of the prelims? I understood exactly why that move was made. Money. That's what it was all about. But for it to become the type of spectacle that it had became, I got to get on Mike Jackson now. Mike Jackson, I'm sure his parents tried to do their very best to raise him and raise him right. I'm sure whatever dreams, aspirations he had of being an MMA fighter, I'm sure he made sacrifices, as does all of those men and women that decide they want to get into that form of combat sports, right? Here's the thing, though. Boys and girls, when an opportunity, I want you to remember, if there's one thing you learn tonight, if there's one thing you take from what I'm saying here tonight, remember this. When you are presented with an opportunity that can make or break your career, the last thing you want to do is come off like an asshole. Dana White said it. Joe Rogan said it. I was one of the first people to say it before they did. And people were getting on my ass thinking I was being too harsh. I was being too much of a crybaby about Mike Jackson. Understand something. I got no problem with another man getting his ass whooped. I don't give a fuck if it's CM Punk. I don't care if it's Brock Lesnar. I don't care. I don't care who it is. I care about really good competition. Really good, straight up competition. You want to do the showboating and all that leading up to the fight? I'm down with all that. I'm down with all that. But where I draw the line is once you know you have your opponent, I've got this guy beat. Like Mike Jackson to CM Punk. I'm with Dana White. I'm with Joe Rogan, as that's pretty much what I had said during my initial. I gave my knee-jerk reactions as soon as the fight concluded, which was, if you knew you had this man where you wanted him, finish it. Knock him the fuck out. Move on. Why are you dragging it out? Seriously, why? When you get an opportunity like that, you got to always show the respect to those that helped you get to that point. And you got to make sure that no matter what, you do it classy. You do it classy no matter what. I would have been fine with Jackson beating the crap out of Punk, knocking him out silly. Winner, TKO. And he can do all his hand gestures and all that afterwards. Him being on top of Punk, winding up the fists, winding it up and all that, and then just kind of wham, little love tapping and all that. I didn't need to see all that crap. I didn't. And the people that are going to complain about, either they didn't watch the fight or they really didn't stop and take a look to see just how this man physically was conducting himself during this round. And or it's just a situation where you just got people that just despise CM Punk because they just don't like the guy. I don't know what it is. But now you see what happened with Mike Jackson. His career is over. Anytime you got Dana White saying, Michael Jackson and he's a stupid idiot, that's not good. That is not good whatsoever. And hell yeah, for Dana White to say afterwards, oh yeah, CM Punk, yeah. I mean, he's 39, he can go do whatever, but he's done. UFC, he's done. Can you blame the guy? The Mickey Gall fight, very humiliating. But this felt even more humiliating. Now, you might be able to sucker people out of their money twice for a guy like CM Punk, but a third time? No, that's not happening. That is not happening. And it's quite sad. For me, the biggest loser in this isn't so much CM Punk. The biggest loser in this one is Mike Jackson, sadly. Because had Mike Jackson conducted himself well, I'm sure Dana White would have been like, good job. Wasn't expecting that type of a finish, but good job. Who you want to fight next? That olive branch would have continued to be there. But I'm telling you, when you conduct yourself like the way he conducted himself, yeah, you're done. You are freaking done. So, more CM Punk news. I'm loving this. Cory Graves. I was up for this too. I was up after the UFC fight with CM Punk. I was up after UFC had went off the air, but sadly, I got sidetracked with some personal stuff, so I actually wasn't able to watch all of the UFC card. Hopefully, I can catch up because I got it on the DVR, so I'll just have to at this point catch up on it on a weekend. But I I did see the shitstorm that I said CM Punk, but I was thinking Cory Graves. I did see the storm that he had caused on social media, pretty much going from a little after midnight all the way until about 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't wait to talk about this because I looked at this, and if you notice, if you're following me on Twitter at the RCWR show, when stuff like this comes about, I'm usually pretty low key. I kind of go, yeah, all right. I usually I don't bite what's being given to me off the break. I usually kick back, wait until a little bit more information comes about. So I mean, I'm sure by now most of you guys know what all had went down, but for those of you that had missed it, shortly after CM Punk had lost to Mike Jackson, like almost immediately, Cory Graves had put out a series of tweets. Now, there was a lot, but the ones I want to home in on mainly are as follows, and I quote, maybe abandoning everybody who stood by your side, even when we weren't supposed to, only to have your back, or only to have, can I read that again? Take two. Maybe abandoning everybody who stood by your side, even when we weren't supposed to, only to have you turn your back on us wasn't the right move after all. No anger, only sadness. He would follow that up after he would receive a bit of a Twitter storm by fans. Seems the fans are disappointed. Maybe you guys should know that the dude, or that dude, held my first son before I did because I was on tour and I trusted him. The first rule of punk rock is loyalty, and this guy betrayed it all. I still love you, friend, and I'm sorry you got lost. One of the most important tweets that he put out, don't worry, hey, Vince McMahon, this has nothing to do with you. You either Triple H, this is in corporate, this is real life. Calm down, inner nerds. And one Twitter user questioned him as far as his loyalty goes. He said, so where's your loyalty? Not to your friend who was clearly as unhappy as he ever was, but with your billion-dollar corporation bosses. Yeah, super punk rock, bro. Tell me about punk rock. Cory would respond saying, my loyalty. Oh, you would like the before or after? I've got both. I mean, one can only be shit on by their best friend for so long before they smarten up. No, but it's cool. I'm sure, and poor Kenny Omega, I'm sure you love Kenny Omega and you know more about this business and friendship than I do. Yeah, poor Kenny Omega being drawn into this, having a fantastic weekend, by the way. He followed up, dude, I am far from distraught. I'm in a good place. I'm just really bummed that I had a true friend turn his back on me for no other reasons than the company that employs me. So, colleague of mine, Sean Ross, over at the Fightful website, he actually reached out to Cory to clarify with some of the things that had went down. Now you got to remember back September 10th, 2016, when Punk had his first UFC fight, Cory gave him a little bit of props. He put out a tweet. He said nothing but respect. Hashtag UFC 203. All right. And Cory Graves, he talked about how he respected CM Punk's drive, doing his own thing. Sent me a text shortly before his first fight. Part of me thought he was in a zone, and I didn't take offense. I texted him the next day of his first fight, something along the lines of, I know life is nuts. I still love you. Good luck. Probably not verbatim, but you get the idea. Because basically, WWE or whatnot, they were going to be coming to Chicago And Cory Graves reached out to Punk and said, "Hey, man, I know you're getting ready for your fight and everything, but we're going to be coming through there. You want to hang out? You want to grab some dinner or whatnot?" And Punk sent some message like, "Nah, I don't want to have anything to do with you and everybody else at that company." So Punk, Cory Graves just thought maybe Punk was in some type of okay, he's training or whatnot. Let me let him be. All right. But he kind of got the message the hard way once Punk did not return any of his texts, calls, things of that nature. Now, he would go on to say what really set me off was this week when he essentially disowned the business that made him. My only issue with him was that he turned off people that actually loved and supported him. Beyond the business, he never wanted anything to do with us, yet continued to present himself as this Punk hero. He followed it up by saying, "Dude, this has zero to do with court or testimony or any of the above. Nothing that I tweeted was corporate. I'm simply hurt, pissed off that a guy that I looked at as a big brother type has turned his back on me and everyone that loved and supported him only because of the name on my paycheck. I'm definitely not the only one. I won't name names, but there is a large group of us to this day that inexplicably lost a solid friend because of where we work." And Cory Graves will put out a tweet wrapping it up a little after 4 a.m. saying, "Don't forget, y'all, I actually knew how to fight before I got to TV." I know everybody is picking sides because that's the popular thing to do is pick sides. Let me break this down from a couple of different standpoints. First off, oh, see, this is where I can bring in real life because this is real life shit we're talking here. And if I know a thing or two about real life, I know a thing or two about real life. Okay, both sides are wrong. Let me say that off the break. Both sides are wrong. Let's look at things from CM Punk's side. All due respect to CM Punk, but I don't think he thought in this way. "Man, I am so miserable. I don't like how certain personnel in WWE are treating me. This freaking sucks. I'm done with this company. Bump this. I'm tired. They keep leading me down an empty well. I'm not going for it ever again. I'm tired of this. I'm done. Finito." Okay, you're done. No problem with that. Hey, what about those that you were able to befriend? What about the Cory Graves? What about the Kofi Kingstons? What about the Randy Ortons? What about the Hornswoggles? Yeah, well, they still work for that company, and if they're going to continue to take a dollar from them, screw them. Now, look, until we actually hear Punk's side, you know what I always say? There's this person's side, there's the other person's side, and then there's the middle, which is the absolute truth. And sadly, we won't really know the absolute truth. We know Hornswoggle has said some things in interviews, shoot interviews, recounting how his friendship with CM Punk had came to an end. All right, so there's a little bit of substance there, a little bit, but we've yet to really hear CM Punk address all of these claims. Okay, so until he does, let's just look at it as it's on the table right now at face value. Let's look at the scenario that's being painted. Do I think it's messed up that these people that were once friends of CM Punk, they're no longer able to continue that friendship with him because of where they work? I do think that is a little bit messed up. I do, especially if it is a situation. See, here's the big difference. Here's the big difference. When it's a situation where these people that he was once friends with, you got different types of friends. You've got friends that will be your friends while you're at work, But once y'all are off the clock, they don't know how to call you, they don't know how to hang out with you, all of that stuff. And then you've got the type of friends who, not it's the opposite. All right? It's like family, on the clock and off the clock. All right? But then you have true defining moments where your friends at work are defined by actions that you take towards an employer. I'll give you a perfect example. Oh, I love that I'm going to be going in this direction. I think I've only mentioned this story one other time, and I haven't mentioned it since. But now that enough time has passed, I can really just go all balls out. And again, when I bring up personal connections from something in my life related to the main topic at hand, I'm not comparing myself to that celebrity or that athlete. I'm giving you context. I'm helping you all have better understanding and insight. All right. This helps you all really get a grasp on what's at hand right here. There was a security company that I had worked with last year, and I quit working for these guys January of this year. Long story short, they allowed people, the security, the security management team allowed for other guards to smoke weed and all kinds of other drugs on the site on the clock. What was also happening on the clock, you had security officers that were going off in the cut somewhere, getting drinks. You also had security officers that were going into their cars, sleeping for a majority of the shift, or sleeping in the break room, things of that nature. Now, what do you expect when you're working with, and I'm sorry for this upcoming generation. I know there's a lot of you guys that are doing it right, but there's a lot that are giving y'all a bad rep. But kind of what do you expect when you're in an environment where you're working with a bunch of 18, 19-year olds, and they don't look at this position of security as serious as someone that's maybe in their 30s and up? Life goals have changed for them, right? Whereas these kids, I just need my Xbox money and I'm just trying to get my new pair of Nikes and yeah, I'll be done. Okay. So there was one girl that I really, really had enjoyed working with. She was one of the first people that I took a liking to because she looked almost identical to my late ex-wife. And if it wasn't for my ex-wife's spinal bifida that basically confided her to a wheelchair, she was 100% healthy and everything, she would look just like this girl. And it was eerie. I remember when I first saw her, I was scared. I like literally felt my soul leave out my body because I thought like, holy crap, it's my ex-wife reincarnated. Had the same personality and everything, and I took a strong liking to her. And we were the 1-2 punch when it came to our shift. We did graveyards together for many months. She trained me, taught me everything she knew, had a great rapport with the police in the area during that shift, knew them all by first name, had them all on her personal phone. So if something went down, we were all right. We were like Mulder and Scully, you know, that's the best analogy I can use. We were Mulder and Scully. I was the Mulder, she was Scully. I mean, she was just awesome like that. Another nickname I used to give her was Oracle, if you guys are familiar with DC Comics. But anyway, so it gets to a point where I let my guard down. And I'm sure like CM Punk, he let his guard down, said some pretty intimate stuff or whatever, trying to really work on that friendship bond. Well, what I learned was this girl would go back, certain intimate things I would say to her, she would go back, tell other people. And it got to the point, I just learned this a handful of times. It got to the point where she knew how to instigate shit. By instigate, I mean she could say to you, "Oh yeah, there's this guy that you may work with. He's always smoking weed." And I say to that young man, "Hey, it was brought to my attention you smoke weed. I just want you to know when you're working with me, make sure you do that way before you clock in because I need you to be on point. I need you to be sound. I need you to be mindful. I need you to be on point because if some stuff goes down, I need you to be as alert as humanly possible." Another thing, heaven forbid, police come up here because we get cops in street clothes and all that. Heaven forbid they come up here, they smell marijuana on you. Next thing you know, the whole damn security company is going to be taking a hit. We don't need that. And he got all pissed off. Next thing I know, I come in for the next shift. I find out that apparently me and this guy had a fight. Like, what fight? No fist broke out. Nobody hit any walls or anything. What are you talking about? And I learned from that point on that she was somebody that I had to be careful what I say around. So you fast forward, I got to a point where I started to get very miserable with this company because it felt like you were doing so much slave work for crap little pay that, okay, if you got your security license, and anybody knows this, if you have your security license, you can go command whatever salary you want and you can be making more than 11, 12 bucks an hour, if you know where to look and you have the right connections. So with my experience and all that, I said, bump this. I'm done. I remember I was so sick. Again, like CM Punk, I was so sick. I had a high ass fever. I had no business being to work, but I went because I said, you know what? These guys are depending on me. Not to mention, I need the money. And, I just don't want to leave them hanging like that. I'll rest where I can. But I had a fever that was 100 something. I mean, I was sweating profusely. It was really bad. And apparently, there was a fire alarm that went off. And I thought that the young guy I was working with, because Scully was no longer working with me, Scully had got pulled to work the morning shift. And me and her, in the months that we were talking, I said to her, I said, if they pull you from the graveyard shift, I told her, I said, I think honestly, I would be done. And I told her, I said, I don't like working with kids. These kids don't know what they're doing. They're careless. They don't care like you and me. She was much younger than me. She was probably about 27, 28, but she had that good, strong work ethic. Okay. And I remember leading up to her being pulled from my shift, I said to her, "Hey, why don't you do me a solid? You've got cachet here. You're friends with the management here. Won't you put in a word for me? Won't you tell them that, I'd be good as a acting supervisor?" And at first she goes, "Oh, yeah, I can definitely." And then now that she's got her somewhat promotion, we just write a letter and put it in the box and tell them, but don't make it seem like you're demanding. I'm like, okay, so you've worked with me for almost 7 months, and I'm asking you to put in a word for me, but you can't do that? That doesn't sound right. Whatever. So you had the incident that went down with me and the fever. Fire alarm in the building goes off. I'm like in and out of it, but I'm alert. Got my walkie on. I hear nothing. Next thing I know, you fast forward, the shift is practically over. I've got like 5 pages. I've never been written up before, as long as I've worked, never been written up before. I've got 5 pages of write ups. One of them because I abandoned the site. Like, wait a minute. What do you mean I abandoned the site? It's like I told this young guy, I didn't even know the guy's name. I said, I told the young guy here that I was going to take my lunch break. Told him if he needed me, just call me on the radio. He didn't call me. He's all, well, I called you 10 times and you didn't respond. I'm like, that's bullshit. And rather than her say, well, wait a minute, something's not right here because this guy always shows up for his shifts. This guy's always coherent. This guy's always alert. Something's not right here. Okay, let's wait. Let's try to get some more information or what. No, what happened was this young guy was trying to be all hot shot. Imagine that. Imagine being almost 40 and you have a 19-year-old giving you the orders when it should be, wait a minute, I'm coming on board your shift. I'm coming on board your territory. You're the one that knows the ins and outs. Let me be the rookie. You show me what's up, and then we work together. No, 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 no. And I got so sick. I got fed up. I can imagine how CM Punk felt with the whole Z-Pack shit. I felt literally like how he felt. I pick up the phone. I didn't curse out the boss. I told him, I said, look, I said, here's what's up. I said, I was very sick. Blah, 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 blah. Appreciate the opportunity you gave me. I'm done. Now, word got to the girl that I had quit. Rather than her say in a text message, because any other time she can interact, rather than her say, hey, Lee, I'm so sorry about what had happened at work earlier today. I hope you know that was nothing personal. It was just business. I was just doing as I was instructed. Are you okay? I know you weren't feeling too good. Are you feeling better? Blah, 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 blah. None of that. You know what I get instead? Probably the next day, I get a sorry ass text message. And this is how I remember it. I get a sorry ass text message that says, can you believe this about Enzo? And there was a wrestling link. It was when Enzo got terminated by the WWE. I showed it to my girl and I had a hearty ass laugh. I said, wait a minute. She knows I'm gone from the company. And she pretty much knows the circumstances for me being gone. And yet and mind you, this is the same girl that has documentation on her cell phone that proves that the bosses for this particular security company are involved in embezzlement. And she's not turning them in. So for me, I politely, I didn't respond. I blocked her number and I just said, fuck you, fuck everybody else at that company, because you all are some shady motherfuckers. You all are shady, backstabbing individuals that are doing nothing more than trying to look out for yourselves and trying to play all footsie with management, because you know that by playing footsie with the management, that gets you certain props, that gets you certain privileges. I don't kiss ass. I've never kissed ass at any employer I've worked for. I'm proud to say that. I've bust my ass. I do what I need to do at work. I go above and beyond and then some. I don't abuse the call out system. When I call out, I'm legitimately sick or I have obligations that I need to attend to. Bottom line. Bottom line. So I said, fuck everybody in that company. Now, you can understand, of course, that if you were in that position that I was in, you probably would say the same thing. Yeah, you know what? If they're all that fucking shady, yeah, you know what? Yeah, don't really want to have anything to do with them. So, I can understand a CM Punk. You like that? You like how we brought it back full circle? You guys got to stay with me because it seems like it's going in a completely different direction, but it always comes back to the main topic at hand. Now you see the connection? So with a guy like CM Punk, you are saying, well, you know what? Surely that was not the case. Surely it wasn't anything similar. Surely there wasn't the same people that are supposedly his friends or were his friends at one point. Surely they did not do some type of shady crap or was kissing up to the boss where Punk kind of felt like he was out there on his own. Surely that wasn't the case, right? Because that would be pretty selfish. That'd be pretty mean spirited. Surely they didn't operate that way. And 2 cents from a distance, I'm kind of led to the impression that these once friends, did not operate in this fashion. I'm led to the impression that they tried to do right by him, but because of what was going on with his lawsuit with the WWE and all this, I get it. He was legitimately hurt, but for him to react this way, I'm like this. If these people haven't tried with cruel intent to at any point sabotage your career while you were there in the WWE, why say to them, we can't be friends anymore? I don't understand that logic. So they work where they work. I'm like this. If it's that much of an issue because of where they work, why not say to them, hey, how much is your salary from WWE? Okay, well, you know what? Come work for me. You're my friend. Come on, come work for me. You don't have to deal with that crap. You can come work with me. You can work remote from home. You don't have to come move to Chicago. None of that. You can work for me. You can help me organize my appearances, things of that nature. What do you say? You come be my personal security. We'll find something for you. Come work for me. I got enough money. I'll be able to take care of us. You know, I mean, that's what real friends do, right? When real friends get financially established and then some, they try to look out for those that help them along their way. I mean, if I were to win the lottery, I'm sure any one of you got to have at least one best friend that you say, you know what, if I came into a large sum of cash and I could pretty much be my own boss, I would probably reach out to a friend and I would be like, hey, come work for me. So, I've always kind of lived by that philosophy. Well, if it bothers you that much, how I'm making my money and what I have to do to make my money, make me an offer. Either make me an offer or STF you straight up. I think anybody, that's the one thing. That's for me, there's a line that I will not cross and a line that I will not cross, even with my family. I'll give advice till I'm blue in the face, but there's one line I just will not cross. I will not tell and enforce my will onto another person when it comes to how they need to be making their money. If I know what someone is capable of skill wise, I will say you need to play to your strengths, get that money. This is what you're really good at. Why you have this college degree in, law enforcement or whatever, sports and nutrition or whatever, and you're making $7 an hour at Arby's? Something doesn't compute. Go get yours. Go chase that dream. Go think outside the settle, never settle. So that's how I'm looking at things from the CM Punk side. But then let's flip it to Corey. Look, man, I get it. I legitimately get it. But you know what? Damn, that comes off very vicious. That comes off very cruel. And it almost kind of justifies maybe why CM Punk decided to cease communications with you in the first place. Because for you to put out this type of laundry on social media, what does that achieve? What is to gain from that? Okay, you're having your therapy moment, right? You're releasing a thought. You're putting something out there, but at the same time, you're also pissing off a lot of people. You're making yourself look very unprofessional. You're making yourself look very so not classy. Me personally, if that was me in Corey Graves' shoes and I felt really hurt by CM Punk and I see him get his ass beat at UFC, I'm gonna have me a nice good shot of whiskey, some vodka or whatever, some scotch. I'm gonna be laughing my ass off. I'm gonna change the channel, look at the nightly news, local news, and then I'm gonna take my ass to bed. And I'm gonna be like, hey, all right, it came back full circle. I'm good. His ass got beat. I'm good. But to just stoop down to the level that he did, very, very tasteless as far as I'm concerned. And you have his cell phone number. You know his people that, hey, if he does try to change his number, you know how to get in contact with XYZ so that you can somehow figure out a way to get in contact with him again. Oh, no, just, not hating, just sadness, or, I still consider him a friend. No, no. If there's any part of you that values that friendship, if there's any part of you that truly considered this man as your friend or someone who you looked upon as an older, bigger brother, you say that this is an individual that at one point when your son was born, he held your son in his hands because you couldn't be there. You were doing whatever you were doing respectfully. Okay, obviously that man meant that much to you. Don't you think? Just even if you can't go the route of showing respect because respect isn't given to you, don't you think it makes a little bit more sense that just from a classy standpoint, you say, okay, you know what? Even though this man may not be reciprocating it back, I know how he's probably feeling right now that he suffered this loss. Let me reach out to him. Let me send him a little something something and pretty much go from there. Both sides are wrong when it's all said and done. And one of the things I had said on social media, I said, honestly, Corey, I'm paraphrasing here. I said, honestly, Corey, I hope you and Punk are able to reconcile. I hope that you are able to squash all of this that's going on right now, because now more than ever, life is too short. We've lost a lot of people, a lot of good people over the years. Just recently in the past week and a half, right? My God, don't even get me started on that. That's a completely different show for another time. But if there was ever a time to reconcile, try to patch things up, because you just don't know. Tomorrow is not promised to anybody. And just when you think hey, this person's smiling, they're always laughing, they're always cracking jokes, they're the life of the party when they enter the room. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, did you hear? Sam hung himself in the bathroom. He pulled a Robin Williams. I just saw him the other day. We were cracking jokes, eating Red Lobster. What happened? So, and I know Punk has been dealing with a lot of psychological, emotional issues for a lot of years. Some of that was pretty much highlighted on his DVD from some years back. So, but it's stupid. It's stupid. But I think we touched all bases. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover with that. It's amazing how we went into many different areas with that. But for me, it's not about picking a side, because I know sadly we got people that are picking sides. Both sides are wrong. And I'm sorry, two wrongs don't make a right. So both of these men, fuck social media. Y'all meet in Chicago or wherever, meet at a nice restaurant that's got good food that you both like and love eating at, good drinks, hammer that shit out. If it means maybe you got to do it at each other's home, whatever, squash it. Squash it already. Got to give a major shout out to Chris Jericho. I didn't get a chance to watch this yet. Again, been sidetracked with a lot of other different side projects, but Chris Jericho reinventing himself again. Plus, I got to give him a big shout out, as he is now the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. I believe Kenny Omega is now the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. How about that? Two Canadians holding two of the most prestigious titles in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It doesn't get any better than that. That's freaking awesome. But Chris Jericho reinventing himself again. I mean, this guy has been doing it for damn near 30, if not a little bit over 30 years now. And he always seems to be able to adapt himself with the times. This go round, leading up to his match um against Naito for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, He pulls this, it looks like the Crow meets that character from Clockwork Orange. I mean, it is just, it's badass. I love it. I freaking love it. And that's the thing with Japan, man. When I think about some of the stuff that I see out there in Japan, especially with regards to New Japan Pro Wrestling, a lot of these characters, what they kind of remind me of, a couple of things. You can almost kind of factor in a Dynasty Warriors game. You can also kind of say that it's also kind of like Persona. If anybody is familiar with the Persona game franchise, it kind of has like all of these cool elements, right? And it's just amazing to me how some wrestlers, some athletes from North America and Canada for that matter too, because Canadian wrestlers have been able to go over, do some stuff for New Japan, and it's done wonders for their career. But it's so amazing how we're able to see these Canadian, but mainly American wrestlers go out there and they're able to reinvent themselves and everything and have even more longevity as a result. And it's just a testament for me with regards to Chris Jericho that this is a guy that's always thinking ahead. He is one that is never settling on just, hey, I'm Chris Jericho. I was able to accomplish all of these things, in the WWE or whatnot, and I was able to accomplish these things in WCW. I did all this. I got this band. He never just settles on past accomplishments. He is always jumping out there and just continuing to test the waters. I mean, if you're a Jericho fan, you just, when you stop and think about it, reinventing himself in New Japan, the Jericho Cruise. I know it's not much because it's just some Impact Wrestling talent that's on the boat, but I think that it's one step closer to maybe eventually. I'm not saying Chris Jericho in the impact zone, but maybe just from a creative slash booking standpoint, maybe Jericho at some point might help out Don Callis with some of the matches, some of the talent there in Impact. You just never know because of their friendship and all. But one thing that was very, very interesting while we're still talking about Chris Jericho, he recently had did an interview. I can't think of the podcast right now because I wanted to give them props, but he recently had commented on why the odds of you seeing him at another wrestling promotion in particular in North America is not going to be happening. And I love reading transcripts. I'm a sucker for the transcripts because I just like being able to read what's being said. Once in a while, I'll go actually check out the audio, but I'm a sucker for the transcripts. So here's what he had to say, and I quote: "It's not a matter of just going out and doing indies." And like I said, I always felt that the unwritten rule is I don't want to go into the States. I felt like that would be a real slap in the face of Vince. If something ever went down with us, I probably would do a show in the States and we could probably fill the Crow Palace, Jericho and Kenny rematch, or whatever it may be. All in. I'd love to be a part of that. But A, it's in Chicago, and B, at the risk of sounding like an ass, but I can't lower my value by working one of these shows. It's about picking my spots with the right guys at the right places for the overall contract I'm signing. I'm doing all these different things and enjoying the freedom, but still rooted in the respect for Vince McMahon and the WWE. And I don't want to do anything that goes too far over that line right now. Now, much earlier, he also had said this. I want to go back. He said, I got asked to do Strong Style Evolved in Long Beach as far as other New Japan Pro Wrestling events that's happening in North America. He said, I got asked to do Strong Style Evolved in Long Beach. I said no. I got asked to do the G1 special at the Cow Palace. I said no. I got asked to do All In. I said no. I don't want to do that. You should see how many indie promoters have contacted me over the last 6 months. You guys have to understand this is not just me, it's a calculated big money proposition. Yeah, big money for me, big money for the company doing it. I'm not going to work anywhere else unless you want to pay six figures. I'm not bragging, but this is where we're at. This is McGregor Mayweather type for me. I'm not saying I'm making 55 million like those guys, but what I'm doing, it's the most I've ever made for the least amount of matches in my entire career. So it's very calculated. Everything I do has to be very smart. So, and he has been doing it very smart. The Jericho cruises, Fozzy, the podcast. Now it's on West One, Westworld One, or whatnot. I mean, he's being very, very particular at this stage of his career right now, and it's very, very smart. I mean, to see a guy, see, to see a guy that has been around the wrestling business this long, and he is still a top draw, and just the way that he is going about marketing himself. I'm telling you, if I'm these younger guys, don't matter what wrestling promotion, if I'm just a young guy, I'm up and coming, and I'm looking at everything that Jericho is doing, I am trying my damnedest to be a sponge and soak up as much intel as I can get from him tremendously, tremendously. But yeah, a lot of props to Jericho, constantly reinventing himself, pushing the envelope time and time and time and time again. Got some Ring of Honor news for you guys. It looks as though Ring of Honor is going to be coming to New York. Looks as though they're going to be coming next year to Madison Square Garden, believe it or not. As probably you all know, if you've been following the news, maybe you haven't, but the people that's basically in charge of running the day-to-day operations of MSG, for events and stuff, they've been a little bit dissatisfied with the arrangements that they once used to have with the WWE, because now it's a situation where when it comes to New York, WWE is going to the Barclays Center for SummerSlam and whatever else, takeover weekend, and they've been kind of left out in the cold. And remember, there was a point many years ago where WWE would have these arrangements that they would have with certain promotions, and they'd be like, okay, look, X amount of money. We want these dates locked because we're going to be bringing our talents here to this venue. There was a nice agreement, but now they've been branching out to so many other different outlets. We knew that sooner or later this was kind of bound to happen. So the fact that Ring of Honor is going to be able to score this, I think the timing is right. As long as I've been watching the Ring of Honor promotion, it just seems like one piece, one venue at a time, year after year. The timing now, it feels right that Ring of Honor would successfully be able to handle being at MSG. And I tell you what, when Ring of Honor does go to MSG, I'm definitely going to be there. Whenever the tickets are going on sale, I'm definitely going to be there. I think that would be really, really badass. I love New York. Love New York. I've been out there so many times over the years. I like hooking up with friends out there. I love the people out there. Good people, really, really good, awesome people that's out there. Great food that's out there as well. I definitely am very excited for Ring of Honor. I mean, if you're a Ring of Honor fan, if there was ever a time to represent the promotion, yeah, when these tickets go on sale for MSG, represent. Meantime, AAA, they're going to be getting to the MSG supposedly. They're supposed to be doing something this year before this year is out. So they're going to be like the first other wrestling promotion other than WWE that's going to be doing stuff at MSG. Because remember, the longest time when it came to wrestling, New York, MSG. That was the place. So a little bit of history that's going to be happening during the course of, say, the next 15 to 18 months. So you can't help but be pretty excited for that. If you are just a wrestling fan in general that appreciates all forms of wrestling. You guys enjoying the show so far? If you are, make sure you throw the thumbs up and like, share, retweet. It's at this point of the show, I want to go ahead and I want to recognize some of our sponsors. And I also want to recognize some of our Patreon members. We definitely need to recognize our Patreon members for the month of May, as it looks like May finally was processed officially. So we're definitely going to be recognizing these guys for the rest of this month in June. We'll recognize June Patreon members next month when it's July. But for the month of May, we want to recognize the following Patreon members. Shout out to the beautiful and the lovely Courtney Summers. Courtney Summers. Courtney, get at me. I need to know when you're going to be launching the Metal and Wrestling podcast. I'll actually, if I don't hear from you tomorrow afternoon, I'll actually give you a buzz. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Shout out to my good pal, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Love what you did last week, buddy. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Those are our Patreon members. You should sign up for Patreon. Patreon, man. Patreon.com/RCWR show. For $5 smackaroos a month, you get access to bonus RCWR show content, whether it's audio, video, exclusive unveilings, exclusive interviews. We've got the 30 with Lee series that covers all things wrestling. We also have Wrestling with the Topics that goes outside the realm of what we typically cover here on the show, as it's myself and the beautiful little lady Tammy. As why is my dog barking like a maniac? I have the slightest clue, but she's mad about something. I don't know what, but she's mad about something. But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. $5 a month, you get access to all of that great content. So do consider subscribing. Patreon.com/RCWR show. It is really hard to concentrate when you're live on the air and there is a dog in the next room barking its butt off. I don't know what's going on with her. And I think sometimes she wakes up and she just starts barking for no apparent goddamn reason. But anyway, shout out to our sponsors for tonight's episode. Shout out to the following business loans consultants. Give them a buzz at 1-800-460-8679. Again, toll free 800-460-8679, helping you for all your financial needs for getting your business up and running. Hit them up. Also, we're brought to you in part by Destination Vacations Travel Agency. If you need help planning your next vacation, don't have time to search for the best deals and locations, contact Destinations Vacations Travel Agency. They can help you. Give them a call at area code 630-491-6864. One more time, 630-491-6864. You can also visit them on the web, www.destinationvacationstravel.com. That's destinationvacationstravel.com. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is proudly also brought to you in part by MyLotteryWinningsecrets.com. Learn from a lottery winner that won the jackpot 7 consecutive times with great tips and methods. Visit MyLotteryWinningsecrets.com. BeckettJewelry.com. In need of great jewelry gift ideas for him or her? Check out my buddies over at Beckett Jewelry. Low prices at great quality. It's a family-owned and operated business in the United States. All products shipped from the United States. BeckettJewelry.com. Love more, spend less. Also, Disseco Solutions. Disseco Solutions offering the best dissection kit tools you need, whether you are a student in grades 9 through 12 or you are a teacher. They offer the very best in dissection kits, non-rust, stainless steel dissecting tools for instructional and training purposes. Check them out on Amazon.com. Also, July 20th and July 21st in Minneapolis, Minnesota, we've got the Midwest Ecom Conference. It's going down. If you are looking to become a successful eBayer or Amazon seller, maybe you want to work from home, work on building a better income so you can provide for yourself and your family. You can learn a lot at this 2-day event. I do recommend you guys check it out if you want to be a successful eBayer or Amazon seller. For registration, tickets, more information, head on over to MidwestEcom.com. That's MidwestEcom.com. You guys know how to sell domains? You need to check these guys out. Get rich also .ws, .domains. That's where the future is right now. Do this from the privacy of your own home or wherever you like. Hey, you could be at a Starbucks working from there. Check them out. Get rich also .ws. Also, gotta give these guys a shout out. I enjoyed working with them. Limited Edition Entertainment. They are an awesome booking agency. They are interested in helping up and coming young talented artists looking for their big break. Hit them up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Limited Edition ENT LLC. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Limited Edition ENT LLC. You also visit them on the web, limited edition -ent.com. You know, also feel free to send them an email, limited edition ENT booking @gmail.com. Also, the RCWR show is brought to you by CC Repair LLC.com. Fix your credit today so you can prepare for a better tomorrow. CC. Ooh, yeah, CC. Boo, 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 boo. I think we got that wrong. Let me see something real quick. CC. Hang on a second. I thought it was CC Repair. I see there's a P in here. Let's actually see if that is accurate because we want to make sure that that is accurate. We'll just paste and copy. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, let's actually look that up again. Let's see if we'll get that fixed. Yep, CC Repair LLC.com. That actually was not my fault. That was the fault of the people that were plugging their own stuff. Make sure you give me the right info. CC Repair LLC.com. Once again, CC Repair LLC.com. Hit them up. Appreciate all of these guys that are sponsors of the RCWR show because honestly, you know, maybe a little bit long-winded, but we take the time out to recognize all of these sponsors and our Patreon members because without them, shows like what you're checking out right now would not be free. That's the guys to honest truth. You got the bandwidth, you got the website, you've got, okay, this event's coming up. Where's the money going to come from for that? Need this equipment over here. Where, you know, so all of these great guys combined really help us out with the show expenses, man. And we do appreciate them. They do like Motel 6, man. They help keep the light on for us. Appreciate that. See, what else do I want to get into on this episode? So I see a couple of tidbits I want to share. Speedy recovery to William Regal. First of all, he's been dealing with some health issues. It's not really known right now to the extent of what's happening with regards to his health. But for those of you that have been checking out NXT, you've noticed he hasn't been there for several weeks, several episodes. You kind of know what's going on. So speedy recovery to him. Also, John Cena made some big headlines this week as he's going to be replacing Sylvester Stallone. Yes, Sylvester Stallone was supposed to co-star in a new Jackie Chan movie, but Sylvester Stallone had to back out. Enter John Cena. So Cena really moving along with this next phase in his career right now, really going into that Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm just saying really furthering along there in the transition, like Dwayne the Rock Johnson did. So, it's funny that we've got this Money in the Bank pay-per-view card coming up, and far as we know, no John Cena. So I can't wait to see the trailer for this movie. For the most part, I love any and everything with Jackie Chan. So I would imagine this would be a pretty classic one as well. And Enzo Amore news, or he's now being known as Real One, he is set to sign up with a wrestling event now that his tenure with the WWE is over. Looks like he's going to be hooking up with the Tommy Dreamer promotion, House of Glory. That is the Tommy Dreamer promotion, right? Or am I thinking House of Hardcore? You know what? I think I'm thinking House of Hardcore. That's Tommy Dreamer's promotion. House of Glory. That sure does sound like a Tommy Dreamer promotion, doesn't it? I might have, but we'll just leave it at House of Glory. He's going to be showing up at the High Intensity 7 event that's going to be going down on August 7th. And also notable names that's going to be at the event: Sammy Callahan, Evander James, Ultimo Dragon, LAX will be in action. Jeff Jarrett is going to be there as well. So Real One, aka Enzo Amore, is going to be there at that event. Been following a little bit of his activity on Instagram. He has been doing some nice little clothing line here. Looks kind of good. I don't see myself buying that stuff. Now, I mean, if it's a situation where, hey, if you're in the New York area, hey, this is where the store is that's selling his stuff, and you can get it for, Walmart, Target, hell, Aeropostale good deals, then maybe I would consider looking into it. But if he's only going to sell me a shirt for like $50, get that crap out of here. Yeah. House of Glory. I know House of Hardcore is Tommy Dreamer, but House of Glory, because it gets so similar after a while. You kind of get them all mixed up. It's like, what the hell? You got, don't even get me started on House of Pancakes. What the fuck, man? I want pancakes. Okay, so IHOP. It's now IBOP. I hop. I habib. What the hell? What kind of crap is that? As if the burger real estate, is clustered as it is. As if one burger chain isn't enough. We now have IHOP trying to go into that field. But you know what? In retrospect, people should not be upset, because you kind of knew this was coming. I don't know how it is for you guys in your respective cities and states, but in my travels in the DMV, breakfast at IHOP ain't what it used to be. People are coming in, they are having lunch, and in particular, they're having burgers. They're having fries. My personal favorite, whenever I go to the IHOP, I know a lot of you guys are going to agree with me. They got these really great stacker steak and cheese. I love the ribeye. The ribeye that they got is really good, and the cheddar cheese that they use for it is on point. And the bread that they use, man, I love it. I love it. I usually get that, some French fries. I get a sampler while me and the missus are waiting on our main entrees. So in all my travels over the years, I've seen less and less pancakes, waffles, all that. So now they're known as the International House of Burgers. It's no longer International House of Pancakes. Now it's International House of Burgers. Or some are still saying International House of Breakfast, but then there's also now International House of Burgers. Yeah, I just, what the fuck? That's all I gotta say. Now, if we can just have Cracker Barrel become whites only, the circle of dysfunction, the circle of dysfunction will be complete. Seriously, man, that is just crazy. Seriously, that is just crazy. Come on, I know I'm not the only dark skinned or somebody that's not white that has gone into a Cracker Barrel and have gotten the deliverance beady eyed looks. because oh shit, we aren't the right color. You just hear the music in the background when you're walking into a damn Cracker Barrel, and the predominantly white employees look at you, and you just hear the deliverance music in the background. Every time I walk into a damn Cracker Barrel, I feel like Ned Beatty in Deliverance. I feel like something bad is gonna happen to me when I walk into a Cracker Barrel. I keep like all of a sudden I'm looking behind me. I'm inspecting my food, and I'm paranoid like that, man. That's the only place. That's the only place where I can't let my guard down. I tell you, I know I'm not the only one. I know there's some other brothers and sisters, Chinese, whatever. I know I'm not the only one that walks into a Cracker Barrel and go, damn, I feel some hate on me. Woo! Seriously, man. Seriously. Let's see what else we got. Also, this hat caught my eye this week. Xavier Woods, Kenny Omega. It started yesterday, which was the 12th. Now we're bleeding into Wednesday. So a very good morning to you guys as we're still on the air. The E3 2018 Expo. It's going down right now. Big announcements is expected from Microsoft, Square Enix in particular, because with all the buzz and crave that's going on right now with the new Avengers movie, Infinity War, a lot of people are trying to get their hands on, video game wise. So Square Enix, they said they had worked out this deal with Marvel last year, and that there was supposed to be a really cool Marvel game inspired by the Avengers movie that's supposed to be coming out that we'd be able to play for years to come. It's been very tight-lipped. A lot of people are expecting some type of a big revelation to come with regards to that. Gears of War 5 put out a new trailer that actually looks pretty promising. But main point, pro wrestlers Xavier Woods and Kenny Omega, you guys know they've been going back and forth on social media, gaming, and all that. They're actually going to be colliding at the E3 Expo. They're going to be playing some Street Fighter. So I'm actually going to try to see if I can purposely be doing something when this comes about so I can be watching it. I don't know if Xavier Woods is going to be streaming it or if they both are going to. I think the word is they both are going to be meeting at the expo, and they're going to be duking it out at a booth playing some Street Fighter. So I hope somebody's going to be streaming that because I want to see how that's going to be going down. And I thought this was some sad, stupid news. Brian Christopher, the son of Jerry Lawler, kind of convenient as earlier tonight, SmackDown, we had Jerry Lawler in attendance. And that was what was the whole point of him being out there? I thought for sure the segment was going to end in a way where maybe Shinsuke Nakamura was going to talk via the Titantron, and as AJ is going back and forth, he turns his back, tries to get back to his interview with Jerry Lawler. Nakamura comes from behind, attacks AJ. Who smiling now? Who play mind game now? I thought Nakamura was going to do something of that nature. Did not happen, which was just so Jerry Lawler just comes out there for less than 4 minutes talking to AJ. Well, hey, let me ask you, AJ, you feel bad for what you did to Nakamura last week? I should apologize, but I'm not, and that's it. I tell you, the stuff I see. Anyway, Brian Christopher, Jerry Lawler's son, he made headlines last week. I told you a lot of crap went down last week that was just what the fuck. Apparently, Brian Christopher had like this not really a ridiculous hotel tab. It was about maybe for sure under $1,000. I want to say it was about 800, maybe after taxes, about maybe 825 or whatever. But he tried to skip out on paying the hotel bill. So hotel management or whoever, they had called the local authorities. Eventually they were able to apprehend him and they arrested him. Now I do believe he had made bond or whatever, but just stop and marinate on that for a second. Damn, dude, you can't pay for your hotel room? I mean, wow. Like if you couldn't pay for that hotel room, why even book it in the first place? Right? Why book it in the first place? I mean, you, me, and everybody else that has common sense, we go, okay, so we're gonna be traveling here. Okay, so that should be good. Yeah, but you know what? Where are we gonna stay? I can only afford this amount. Okay, so we're gonna stay at Motel 6. Nah, we'll stay at the Hilton. We'll stay, if it's not within your means, you're not even gonna bother. You're not even gonna bother. So it don't look good. And then you see the mug shot of him. The mug shot is really creepy. The mug shot, he looks like one of them creepy villains from Gotham, the TV show on Fox. Yeah, I mean, he just looks creepy as hell. And I, I just can't wrap my brain around. I just find that amazing. I really do. I don't know how close Brian is with his dad, but I'm just kind of like, so you're telling me you couldn't call up Pops and say, "Hey, Dad, I hate to ask, but I'm waiting on some money to clear from this event that I'm at, and I got this room. You think you could help me out? You think you could spot me? I'm good for it. I'll pay you back in 2, 3 installments. I'm good for it. What do you say? Can you help me out? Just this one time or whatever." I mean, that just looks so damn, or at least okay, maybe a pride thing. Maybe you don't want to go to your parent. All right, maybe the people that you're working with, hey, I got this nice room. I'm gonna be there for a couple of nights or whatever. You wanna share the room with me? Because if so, all I'm asking is that you give me like 150, 200, and we could take turns sleeping in the bed, sharing the bed. One person could take the sofa, the other person could take the recliner. Somebody's gonna have to sleep on the floor. It just looks really bad, and I feel for Jerry. I'm sure Jerry is probably just head down, head down to his chest, and he's just shaking his head in disbelief. I met Jerry Lawler. Me and the missus. We met Jerry Lawler at Awesome Con. What was it? Last year, not this year, but last year, and he was very sweet. I think it was him and his wife that we interacted with. Really nice. If you get a chance to go to an autograph signing and you hear he's there, it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. Jerry is really, really nice. Really nice. He'll take a few minutes, he'll talk with you, but he also kind of want to keeps it moving along. If he kind of picks up the vibe like we had saw with another guy that was trying to talk to him, if he gets the vibe that you're kind of a weirdo, because there was this one guy that just kept going on and on and on and on and on about the Attitude Era, but it wasn't kind of like a Vince Russo, this is what I did during the Attitude Era, like bragging type of. You could tell the guy was pretty off. That's the best way I can describe it. And you just kind of saw Jerry, he tried to tolerate him, but then he just kind of brushes him along. But if you get an opportunity to meet him in person at an autograph signing, take advantage of it. It is worth it. But I'm sure he's probably just going, "What the hell?" Right now. So you kind of got to feel for him, but at the same time, you hope that whatever's going on with Brian, you know, smarten up. You're a little bit too old to be having these type of silly problems. It's like you're not 20 anymore, man. It's like be a responsible young man, especially if you got some kids in the picture. You got to set an example. 10, 15 years from now, they're going to be online. They're going to see your mugshots and all this crap, and they're going to be like, "Dad, what the hell?" So, yeah, literally, what the hell? See, other than that, see, anything else I want to get into on this episode? Um, I don't really need to talk about Raw and SmackDown, right? I really don't need, nothing was earth shattering, right? If I had to pick a couple of matches that really caught my eye that I would recommend folks check out this week, I would say SmackDown, check out Daniel Bryan taking on Shelton Benjamin. That was actually pretty damn good. I also enjoyed from SmackDown Miz being the special guest referee as Samoa Joe. had faced it's in my head. Rusev. That was actually pretty good. Looking at the Raw side of things, I'm trying to re-jog my memory on Raw. The women's match on Raw, that was actually good. The last back and forth between Nia Jax, Ronda Rousey, that was decent. But I tell you what, I really didn't particularly care for what Nia was saying. I thought Ronda had did a little bit better, and I don't know if Epic would be able to put this up, and if they do, great. But I just kind of want to dispel this rumor that I had saw, and I do appreciate the good community over at the Epic Sports channel. I do, because working with Epic Sports for this past year and a half, we've been able to obtain new listeners as a result. Yeah, hey, nice show, cool. And they go out of their way, they let it be known, hey, I saw you over on Epic Sports. Sounds like you got a really good show. Keep it up, blah, blah, blah. I like that. I like that. But I want to dispel this rumor that had came about from last week. And I find it amazing that of all people, Dave Meltzer had followed up on this. Okay. So first, let me set this up just right. As long as I've been doing this show since 2011, if I ever come across a piece of news or if I hear something of great interest that I think you guys should go out of your way to check out, I always plug other people's shows. Always. I was just here last week and past couple of weeks, and I promoted the hell out of the 83 Weeks podcast with Eric Bischoff. I talked about how, hey, you guys need to go out of your way, listen to the episode with Bret Hart. I know this week they did a tribute to Dusty Rhodes. I can't wait to listen to that. I usually listen to 83 Weeks when I'm at work, but if there is something of substantial significance that I feel, hey, I was listening to this the other day and here it is, here's my 2 cents. I always give that credit. And longtime RCWR listeners know this. To the point, just recently, about maybe 2 weeks ago, there was a topic of Brandy Rhodes that had came about on my good friends Anthony and Joey over on Wrestling Soup that they had went into, and I kind of followed up on that, and I added more to that. And Raw last week, we had a situation come about where Ronda Rousey had said the weirdest fucking line. It had something to do with right for the pickings or something like that. She said it a couple of times. And it had struck me as I was watching it. And sadly, I know, sadly, when you get right down to it, there are those on Epic Sports that don't listen to other shows. They just know about one show and that's it. And then when they hear another show, they're under the impression that, well, because of when this was uploaded initially, or because of when this show had aired, this person is copying off of this other show. Folks, please don't be that narrow-minded. And when I say narrow-minded, I don't say that in an insulting matter whatsoever. I sincerely just mean don't be that narrow-minded. The world has expanded so much as far as podcasts go that cover wrestling. I was here in 2011 when things were still somewhat moderately. Everybody wasn't jumping on the YouTube, the Facebook, none of that, or using nobody was jumping on all of that. So I've seen a lot in all the years that I have been doing this show. And the one thing that I've always continued to try to pride myself on is being original. I can't stress that enough. I have had people that were long-time listeners eventually branch off and do their own respected shows. And one of the things they would ask me, they would say, Lee, what's the best advice you can give me so that I can try to do my best to be successful with my own podcast? And I say to them, be original, be yourself. try not to copy from other people because listeners will be able to detect that and they'll let you have it. So, try to not be influenced if you can help it. Try to not be influenced and have your opinion basically be the opinion of what you just heard from somewhere else. And I pride myself on that to the point I have a golden rule. My friends know this. My girl knows this, which is between the time when I get ready to do the show and when it's over, I am just in what am I going to talk about? I'm doing the research. I'm looking. It's like, okay, let's trim this. And I'm trying to figure out what's ear grabbing, what's eye catchy for me. And I run with that. And if I come across something from another show, I give the props. But once I'm done with my show, usually Wednesday and Thursday, I dedicate my time to checking out just a small handful of podcasts. And after that, I'm done. Now, whatever they say on their respected shows, I don't come back on my own show unless it's something of great substance. And I feel like, hey, this was really good that this show had brought up. They brought this point up. They brought this point up. I kind of want to add a little bit more to that because this is a really good topic. It's very seldom I do that. But when I do, I always give props where it's due. So my message to people, please do not be so narrow-minded when you see some of the stuff that's on Epic Sports and it's like, oh, Lee's jacking from, and I appreciate those that had tried to, it was a little bit raunchy though. I appreciate those that tried to come to my aid and say, oh, Lee's not like that at all. He don't be jacking from, let me tell you something. And longtime RCWR listeners know this. The one time we had a situation in show history where somebody felt as though, or in this case, I stole their co-host. The guy was just, oh my God, you want to talk about unprofessional. And it turns out he was, he did almost an entire show dedicated to bashing the hell out of me and everything. And it turned out he was just doing it because he wanted to be a shock jock. He wanted to get the downloads. He wanted to get the plays, all of that. And he was tremendously disappointed when eventually I had came on the show, successfully defended myself, my position. I mean, I had this guy. He had accused me of stealing his show format. And I told him, I said, dude, I said, you can go back and listen to the very first episode of my show. Long before, years before I even came into your crosshairs. And this is what I was about. And this is what I continue to still be about. And I just remember how he had sent me this sorry ass email afterwards once his show was shutting down and he was getting ready to go off into the distance or whatever. He tried to apologize for being mean. And I was like, no, I take constructive criticism as much as the next person. But where I draw the line is, if as long as you're respectful to me and offering constructive criticism, I'm all fine for it. You can tell me, hey, man, this has potential, but you got to improve in this area. I'm down for that. I am so down for that. But when you start coming at me acting like an ass, when you start doing that, then I just kind of get to that point where it's like, I'm not going to even bother listening to you, quite honestly. But I just really wanted to draw that fine line. So just remember that in case you didn't know, just going forward, if I hear something that's of great interest that I think, hey, I was listening to this show, this is the topic that was mentioned. I agree with these points. I want to expand on that a little bit more. I will always start doing that going forward. But that line that Ronda Rousey had said last week, my show, Don Tony, Kevin Castle, where it was claimed I jack. No, I respect the hell out of those guys. Love those guys tremendously. One of these days, I actually would like to do something with one of them, if their schedule permits it. All right, I know Kevin of all people, Kevin Castle, and he made my day a couple of months ago. He said, "Hey, I actually check out your show. I check out some of the stuff that you do from time to time. It's pretty good. Keep up the good work. You're coming along." That's the greatest compliment of anybody that could give to me is from a guy like Kevin, because if a guy like Kevin ain't feeling you, he lets it be known. If he feels you need work, he lets it be known. And I told him honestly, I said, and I was humble about it. I said, "Hey, I'm coming along. I'm leaps and bounds better than where I was before. I'm finding my stride again." And I am. Each week it gets more and more challenging because I'm trying to bring it for you guys every single week. But um Dave Meltzer had said, I know I said Dave Meltzer a couple of times, but he actually had put out a report with regards to that awkward commentating that was done by Ronda Rousey. And apparently, Meltzer is noting that there were some people within WWE that believed it was a bad call to put Ronda in that position where she was doing side commentary with Cole in the game, because they felt it really wasn't utilizing her to her truest strengths, which I just find hypocrisy in that, because it's, wait a minute, she was just doing media rounds and she struggled. You're just now realizing she's not exactly right for whatever, but whatever. But Meltzer went on to say that it was obvious that the lines that she were given, it was heavily scripted. You could legitimately tell that she was not comfortable with her lines. He said Rousey clearly did not feel comfortable with the line as she came off standoffish. So, but even Meltzer picked up and reported that, hey, the awkward lines that she had during her commentating last week, if you notice that it sounded a bit off, yeah, it was off. It was off because this is what had went down. So for Dave Meltzer to get in on that, and I don't think Dave Meltzer is just cherry picking and trying to pull hairs out of his ass. I think sometimes when he has some intel, he's on point. He's right on. See. Steven has the question. Steven, it is almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to try to read this. I hope you don't hurt my eyes this week because you usually misspell your words, my friend. Lee, last week, try ask what's going on with author. We talked about that, Stephen. We talked about authors of pain. I'm not talking about authors of pain, Stephen. As far as I'm concerned, authors of pain need to be given the pink slip. There's a lot of people that, sadly for me, I need to see be given the pink slip. If I don't have anything really kind to say, as my mama always said, don't say nothing at all. But we talked about authors of pain last week, but I'll say it one more time. As far as I'm concerned, with regards to the authors of pain, they are a team I would, nothing personal, it's business. There are a lot of people down at the Performance Center and in NXT that have been fighting, that have been clawing, that have been showing that they are deserving of a position. And it's either do what you need to do, evolve, get better, or evolution. It passes you by. So, Stephen, for the second week in a row, with regards to the authors of pain, I hope that clears it up for you. Honestly, for me, doing the shows, trying to prep for the shows. Sax Sons, I love that. No, I'm not gonna do a Russo finish tonight. No, but I guess the only other thing we got to talk about is Money in the Bank. I really don't feel like talking about Money in the Bank though, because you guys almost got a fucking 3-hour show. So I think what I'm gonna do is Wednesday we've got NXT Takeover. I'm sorry, Wednesday is NXT. this weekend is NXT Takeover. That's what I was thinking. I kind of want to offer some NXT predictions. I think I might do that later this week. And I know we got Money in the Bank that's going to be coming up. Here's what I'm going to do. Money in the Bank, as far as my picks, we're going to make that be a separate edition of the RCWR show. We'll try to see if we can make the point in about 20 minutes or less talking about the Money in the Bank card. So we'll do it that way. I'm thinking at this point, what I'll probably do is Thursday evening, maybe like around 7 p.m. I'll come on YouTube and Facebook. We'll go over some Money in the Bank predictions. And then I'll say Saturday, probably like an hour before Takeover, I'll come on and I'll offer some picks for Takeover. We'll do it that way. Okay. So do stay tuned. But yes, before you ask, Saturday and Sunday, there will be the NXT Takeover after show. There will be a Money in the Bank after show. We'll stream that here on YouTube, Facebook, Spreaker, all the great platforms. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. Use the keywords, the RCWR show, especially the Facebook page. Shout out to those of you that have liked the Facebook page and have been following it. Really appreciate that. Shout out to everybody that's live in the chat. Really appreciate you guys that were interacting with each other and, hung out for tonight's show. Appreciate those of you that's going to be checking out this show on the downloads. Much love and respect as always. Until next go round, which is going to be basically Thursday. I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, you all be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Y'all take care. Very good night. Good morning.